Who we got? Hello, Tova. Welcome from Jerusalem. How are you today? Nice to have you. We're going to start in a minute. Just waiting for a few things, but we're getting ready here. Hello, Hillel. Welcome from Jerusalem. A pleasure having you on board. We're going to get started very soon on the facts behind Jerusalem being a scam. All simple information and all good information for people to know the facts and to be reminded of for those who don't know, so we could all do a better job. So bear with me. Palestine, Palestinians boycotting Israel, all these headlines out there. What is going on? And why such the obsession with Israel? And the amount of time there was a land called Judea. Who lived in Judea? The Jews lived in Judea. Hence, Jews, Judea, Judea, Jews. Very, very simple. Judea was the homeland of the Jewish people. Okay? Both temples were built in Judea. The Jewish people had the first commonwealth and the second commonwealth, a Jewish state, as you would call it, back in the day. Then, without going into too much history, the second temple was destroyed by the Romans. The Roman Empire was an empire in the world. It was out to conquer the world. Judea sits in between Europe, Asia, Africa, a key place in the world for travel, for trade. The Romans took it over, and at a certain point, they destroyed the temple. They expelled the Jews from Judea. Very simple history. The land of the Jewish people was Judea. Here, what is today the modern state of Israel. The Romans came, destroyed the Jewish state. Okay, so now let's go a little deeper. After the Romans destroyed the Jewish state of Judea, they were so upset at the Jewish people. Why were they so upset at the Jewish people? Because the Jewish people ran one of the only successful rebellions against the Roman Empire. That's it. And because they were so upset, they actually did something about it. What did they do? They decided to try to wipe the Jewish people off the map of history forever. How did they do that? Well, when they expelled the Jews from Judea, they then renamed the land where Judea was. Instead of calling it Judea, they call it Palestina. Very, very simple. Okay? The Jews lived here and the land was called Judea. The Romans destroyed the Jewish state of Judea, and they renamed this land Palestina. It has nothing to do with anyone who lived here, nothing to do with history, nothing to do with the Romans. They were conquerors, and as conquerors, they wanted to rename this area so that all of the associations of this land being connected to the Jewish people would be erased. That's on the history books. You're right, Hillel Fold. First of all, pleasure having you held from this country, and the Romans sold them as slaves around the world. Even though the Romans and they expelled them and expelled the Jews and sold them as slaves around the world, there was always a presence of Jews here in this land that was formerly known as Judea and then renamed Palestina by the Roman Empire. Jews lived here throughout. Jews moved here even after the Romans destroyed and the Jews were expelled. Every generation, Jews were moving here, Jews were living here. As Jews began moving here and building up the land, more and more Arab Muslims from other countries also started moving here. Why? Because there was work here. Under the Ottoman Empire in the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century, the economic situation was not so good across the Middle East, across the Ottoman Empire. And with the Jews coming back to this land, their homeland that was once called Judea, there was work. There was work to build up the land. There was work to build homes. And so little by little, as the Jews returned here, Arabs came here as well. All right? So again, we have the history of this land being called Judea, with the Jewish homeland. Then we have the Jews returning and joining those are their brothers who were living here throughout history. And then as the Jews returned more en masse in the 19th century, we have Arabs coming to join them for the economic opportunity that was given to them here. War I, the Turks lost, the Ottoman Empire lost their empire. The area of Palestine was then put under British controlled, therefore called the British Mandate of Palestine. During the Ottoman Empire, it wasn't called Palestine, it was just part of the Ottoman Empire. But once it was put under the British control, then it was renamed the British Mandate of Palestine. And the world had to deal with the situation. There was violence here. It was Arabs causing violence against the Jews. So initially in 1917, there was a Balfour Declaration. The English government decided that the Jews had every right to return and reestablish, have a national home. It was the Balfour Declaration of 1917. So basically, we had the power that was the global power in charge of this land at the time was deciding, yes, this is going to be returned to the sovereignty of the Jewish people since this is their land. And if you go and Google the Balfour Declaration, you will see the terminology used is the historic right of the Jewish people to reclaim their homeland. Here in Judea, that was modern called the Mandate of Palestine under British rule because they won World War I and they won this land mass from the Turks. Okay? Then we come fast forwarding again, 1948. All right? The Arabs continued violence against the Jews. In 1929, there were mass riots, many of Jews massacred in their homes in the middle of the night by their Arab Muslim neighbors. And over the years, there was more and more pressure from the Arab world on Britain not to give Israel the right to their sovereign land. And let's not forget, the Mandate of Palestine under Britain was not just what today is Israel. Bear with us. 1948, okay, 1947, 1948, the Arabs have been pressuring Britain not to allow the Mandate of Palestine to be given over to the Jews. All right? They didn't want to give it over to the Jews. So in the end, the international community came up with a different solution. First of all, they gave away the area of Jordan to the Hussein family. All right? The Hussein family are not native to that area. The Hussein family are from the king of Saud in Saudi Arabia. That's where they came from. They are not native to Jordan. But Britain made a deal with the king of Saud and gave them, part of one of their families, the area of Jordan. So already, the Mandate of Palestine, that was historically a Jewish homeland, was cut up and most of its men over to a foreign entity from Saudi Arabia to rule. And then it was called Transjordan and then Jordan. So the area of Palestine, the Mandate of Palestine, that today is Jordan, is today being ruled by a foreign entity, not the Arabs, on the other hand. The Arabs voted no, and they pressured countries around the world to vote no against the partition plan. Not only did they not want any land, a state of their own, they didn't want Israel to exist. They didn't want the Jews to have a state of their own. So they voted no. And the second that the partition plan was voted yes, it was accepted, Again, historically, the Jewish people were given power to return to their homeland and have sovereignty in their homeland. Okay? The Arabs said, no, we are against a Jewish state being created. They went to war to destroy the Jewish state, to kill all the Jews. That was their reaction to the partition plan of 1947. Very, very simple. The world said, yes, the Jews can have their own sovereign state in their historical homeland of Judea. Right? The mandate of Palestine was just the Roman terminology that was made up by the Romans to erase the existence of the Jewish people. The Jews will have their sovereign state in Judea once again. And because there are Arabs living here also, the world said part of the land will be given to the Arabs. But the Arabs said no. The Arabs said, we're not going to let you have your own state, and we're going to war to destroy you. Now, here's a side topic that is so important. There were no Palestinians. There was no Palestinian nation in 1948. There was no Palestinian army. There was no Palestinian leader. Believe it or not, if you go to Google and go Palestine in the 1930s, the 1940s, the Palestinian soccer team were all Jews. The Palestine Post was a Jewish newspaper. The Palestine Electric Company was a Jewish-run electric company. Everything in Palestine was Jews. The Arabs came here because of the economic development with the Jews returning to their homeland. The Arabs were not native here. Only some of them, majority of them were not native. They came because of jobs. They came because the Ottoman Empire was in a horrible economic situation. So the Arabs that came here are from Saudi Arabia, from Egypt, from Yemen, from Syria, from Lebanon. There were no Palestinian Arab nation or native Palestinian Arabs. They were Palestinian Jews living in the Mandate of Palestine. They were Palestinian Arabs. There's no Palestinian nation. And here we go to the Palestine is a scam issue. It's the biggest scam of the world. Before 1964, there was no Palestine, there was no Palestinians. That was only created in 1964. By whom? It was the Palestine Liberation Organization, the PLO, led by Arafat, that was created in Egypt in 1964. Now today, everyone talks about the two-state solution. There must be a Palestine. The Palestinian Arabs must have their own homeland. They should have the West Bank, Judea and Samaria. That's where they live. They should have their homeland. Guess what? Roman name, created only after they destroyed the Second Temple and expelled the Jews from their homeland here in Judea. Guys, bear with me. We're back on audio only. Between 1948 and 1967, the West Bank was under Jordanian control. It was a Jordanian occupation that the world did not recognize. If these Arabs living in the West Bank, or Judea and Samaria, which is its real name, were really interested in their own state, why did they not demand their own state from the Jordanians between 1948 and 1967? Why not? If they really are a people and wanted their own state, they had 19 years between 1948 and 1967 to demand their own state from their occupiers, who at the time were the Jordanians. They did not. Gaza, between 1948 and 1967, was under an Egyptian occupation. The people in Gaza did not demand their own state from Egypt for Egypt to get out of their lives. Okay, they had 19 years. The world has 19 years between 1967 to give the Arabs their own state, because Jordan was illegally occupying the West Bank, really Judea and Samaria, and Egypt was illegally occupying the Gaza Strip. And yet for 19 years, the world did not care about these people having their own country. They did not ask for it. Again, the Palestine Liberation Organization was only created in 1964. The Arabs in Judea and Samaria, or the West Bank, were under Jordanian control. The Arabs in Gaza were under Gaza and Egyptian control. So why was the Palestine Liberation Organization created in 1964? Very clearly, to destroy Israel. And here we get to the crux of the issue. The whole creation of Palestine, it's a scam to destroy Israel. There is no Palestinian people, as we've already discussed. There is no nation of Palestine with a homeland of Palestine. This homeland is called Judea. Jordan today is part of the mandate of Palestine. The Jews are back home. We've always lived here and we're back home. Jerusalem, Bethlehem, Hebron, Nablus, Jericho. These are all in the Bible, folks. These are all the places of the Jewish people. This is Judea. This is where the Jewish people started. This is where the Bible started. These were all the stories that you read about. It happened here with the Jewish people. We are home. The Palestine was a name only created by the Romans after they destroyed Israel in order to destroy any piece of Jews from the history books. There is no Palestinian people. Okay? Anyone who really cares about the Arabs living in Judea and Samaria and Gaza, which is fabulous. They should have their lives. They should be able to live under their own rule somewhere. So give them Jordan. Over 80% of the population there are the native Arabs who live there. That's part of the Palestinian, the mandate of Palestine under the British. It's right there. The Jordan monarchy are foreigners from Saudi Arabia. Let the Palestinian Arabs live in Jordan under their own rule. It's right there. That's where some of them lived. It's all very simple. So the question is, why the global obsession? All right, bringing it all together very quickly. Again, this land historically is Judea. The Jewish people originated here. Both temples were here. Both Jewish commonwealths were here. The Romans came, destroyed the second temple. The second Jewish commonwealth was obliterated. They destroyed the temple. They expelled Jews all over the world. They renamed the land Palestina in order to erase the Jewish people from the history books. But they did not succeed. The Jews returned here. We were always here, and little by little we returned here. As Jews came here to build up the land, Arabs came also to help build it in the 19th century and the 20th century. But the natives of this land are the Jewish people. The Palestinians, there is no Palestinian nation. That's a made-up entity. What's this all about? Why the obsession? It's about getting rid of Israel. It's about getting rid of the Jewish state. Again, Palestine was first created as a term in 1964. If you look at some of the Palestinians and what they say it straight out. We're really Egyptian. We're really Saudi Arabian. We're not from here. Palestine was created in order to destroy Israel. It's a pressure on Israel to be destroyed from within, from without, by war, by terror. And we're audio again, folks, so hang in there. The West Bank, because it's the West Bank of the Jordan River. There's the East Bank of the Jordan River, and there's a West Bank of the Jordan River. It's not the name of an area. That was just called that because the Jordanians conquered that area and then illegally occupied it. They are already on the east bank of the Jordan River, so now they conquered the west bank of the Jordan River. But the name of that area is Judea and Samaria. The more we use the words West Bank, the more we use the words Palestine that are really creations, they are of no existence, the more we're allowing this agenda to eventually destroy Israel to take hold. And we can't do that. The most important thing is to focus on the truth. Talk the truth. Have people ask questions. Check the history books. Between the 1930s, 1920s, the 1940s, the only Palestinians were the Palestinian Jews. Okay, there was no Palestinian nation. It's just an area of a landmass. And there were Palestinian Jews who lived here. There were Palestinian Arabs who lived here. There is no Palestinian nation that deserves their own country called Palestine. So we have to get the truth out there. The truth about the historic connection between Judea, this land, and the Jewish people. The truth that we want to live in peace with all of our neighbors. And Arabs who live within us as Israeli citizens have full equal rights, more full and equal rights than these own Arabs, their own brothers and cousins have in the other Arab countries around the Middle East. But we want peace. We can't let them destroy us. We can't let them continue crusade to destroy Israel using the fake Palestine, because no Palestinian state deserves to be created because It doesn't exist. There's no Palestinian nation. There never was a country or a people of Palestine for them to return and have their own country. They want to live in peace with us? Great, live in peace with us here in Israel, or rule. We'll figure out how to rule so that we can live here in peace. Stop the terror against us. Stop the diplomatic terror against us. We all want to live here. All right, this is touching upon the fact that Palestine is a scam. You want more information? Follow us. IsraelVideoNetwork.com. Follow Avi Abelo on Twitter. We'll go more and more information, but we have to get the truth out there. We have to start talking with the correct terminology, not using West Bank, but using Judea and Samaria, not using the Palestine or Palestinians, because there is no Palestine. There is no Palestinians. Maybe you call them Palestinian Arabs, or the Arabs who live in Judea and Samaria. But we have to use the correct terminology so that people begin to understand the correct context. We want peace here. Anyone who wants peace here, they better side with Israel. Israel's the only side here that wants peace. It's the others that are interested in, want to be on the defensive. The only way to be on the offensive is if people start talking the truth. This land is Judea. This land belongs to the Jewish people. We will live in peace with anyone who lives with us. But start dealing with the truth and help us spread the truth, so then we can really make peace. Because so long as all the information out there is based on lies and propaganda and anti-Israel dissemination, then we're never going to be able to make peace. Help us spread the truth. The first truth to understand is how Palestine is a scam. Thanks so much for joining us today. Come join us back here on our Meerkat, Avi Abelo out of Jerusalem, Israel Straight Talk, and you can follow all of our videos on IsraelVideoNetwork.com. All questions you could send on Twitter, any comments. We're here to have a conversation. We're here to help make you understand. And that's all for today. Signing off from Jerusalem. Shalom.